All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our second community call. For those joining for the first time, community calls will be a monthly cadence where we will have people from the ecosystem and community join. We'll have Parity and Web3 employees join to talk about tech updates. And we will have Raul probably every time to talk about, as a council member, to talk about referenda and treasury. Everyone will be a little bit different based on what has happened in the previous month. But today, I'm very excited to share that we will be talking about Polkadot Decoded voting really quick since it has just kicked off. Urban, who is joining the call, will talk about the Polkadot Dev Camp, followed by Alex, the founder of Talisman Wallet, will speak about Talisman and 101 and what to expect from this wallet. We will have Zeke from Parity Technologies speaking today about nomination pools, a really cool feature coming to Polkadot for those of you that have been, let's say, unpleased with not being able to stake due to high staking limits. Well, then you'll want to stick around for nomination pools. Followed by Raul, who will talk about governance. So an update on the referenda from the past month and treasury proposals. We have Bruno, the founder of RMRK, joining us today. And then we will just end it off by talking about Amsterdam, which is a treasury-funded conference in which several parachain team and ecosystem teams, including Talisman Wallet, are taking part in this month in Amsterdam, and we will briefly discuss that so everyone knows where to go and how to take part in that if they wish. So without further ado, Polkadot Decoded and voting. So Polkadot Decoded is the biggest Polkadot conference. It is returning this year for the third time, June 29th and 30th of 2022. This time it will be taking place in 4 different locations around the world. So Berlin, Mexico City, Shanghai, and New York. And not only will it be live in those locations, but it will also be online. So it'll be a hybrid event for those that aren't able to make it to those cities. You won't miss a beat. You can catch it online. Right now, for those not familiar with Polkadot Decoded, we curate the program by the community, and the voting for the talks is done by the community. So submission phase is over. We have over 200 plus submissions online right now being voted on by the community. So do head over to decoded.polkadot.network, and you can vote on your favorite talks all the way until April 14th. And we have 6 different categories of talks this year where you can choose from everything from lightning pitches and vision to workshops and tech talks. So again, you'll see it on social media, but before April 14th, make sure to head over to decoded.polkadot.network and vote on your favorite talks and help curate this year's program. Without further ado, I will hand it over to Urban to discuss the Polkadot Dev Camp.
Cool. Thank you very much, Evelyn. So yeah, thanks for having me. My take probably is going to be quite short. I do want to take a couple of minutes to talk about the Polkadot Dev Camp, as mentioned. I essentially want to introduce it, what it is, how to apply, who should be applying, and so on. So all of this has been actually published last week when we kind of kicked it off. A Polkadot Medium blog is available with more info that I'm going to share today. So head over. There's also an application link. But in a nutshell, the Polkadot Dev Camp is a 21-hour course that's going to be taught live. It also has a asynchronous component like homework and a capstone project, but it's heavily focused on substrate engineering. So the course is substrate focused, and it's meant for developers, right? This is not a kind of a higher level course, but really meant for engineers and developers. There are unfortunately only 20 spots for the first batch, but rest assured we're working on more batches, so there should be ample opportunities for everybody. And it is free of charge. So it's It's really meant for the community, not as a profit machine for us. So the applications are open already and are going to be closing on April 22nd. The course starts then on May 5th, and it's going to run for a couple of weeks until May 26th. So in that period, this is the time where the 21 hours of lessons are going to be taking place. The capstone project submissions deadline is May 31st, and we're going to have like a closing ceremony on June 10th. So the question that we often get is, who should apply? Should I apply? Am I good enough? Am I too good for this? Basically, we're looking for a wide range of skills here for software engineers. If you're a beginner, please apply. If you're a hardcore software dev, please apply as well. I can't guarantee that everybody will get in, but ultimately we're looking for a wide range of skills here. The bare minimum, though, is to have coding skills. So you need to be a software engineer. We're not going to be teaching you the basics of software engineering and coding from zero. As mentioned, what we're going to be teaching is heavily substrate focused. We're going to be focusing on frame palettes and basically trying to teach you how to build your own blockchain, which is kind of also the desired learning outcome. Of course, we're going to touch on much more than that. There's going to be an intro to Polkadot in general. We're going to go through some of the resources, docs, and so on. Right? So it's we do have quite a few hours to be going through this. The application process is, to be honest, I think it's quite simple. Basically, go to the Medium blog post, which has a direct link to the application form. Once you apply, we follow up with a entry exam. It's really not meant as an entry exam, but more of a assessment of your knowledge. Because we do, at the end of the day, need to make sure that what we are teaching there kind of matches the skill level of participants. And like mentioned, there's only 20 spots for this batch available. So this is basically it. Everybody's really welcome to apply. I'm very much looking forward to all the applications. If there's any specific questions or anything, please feel free to reach out to me. Otherwise, everything should be kind of laid out on the blog post, as well as it contains a application link. So that's basically it from my end. Back to you, Emily.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Urban, and thank you for joining us today. Up next, we have Alex, the founder of Talisman Wallet, to discuss Talisman.
Thanks, Emily. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate the platform. So some of you might know me, so apologies if you've heard all of this before. But I'm Alex, or Agile in cyberspace, Alex in real life. But I think today I'll give you a bit of color on what Talisman is, the history of the project, and sort of what we're working on next. I won't drag on too long. But Talisman is a browser extension wallet for Polkadot Kusama, the parachains, and all of the applications built on those parachains, the culmination of all these things we call the Paraverse at Talisman. If you want to take your DOT or KSM and stake them, contribute to crowd loans, utilize the Akala DEX, buy an NFT on RMRK, or vote on referenda, but you want a friendlier user experience than the Polkadot.js extension, you should download Talisman. We started out on a journey to improve user experience in Kusama all the way back in April last year. And we've put a lot of hard work into building a friendly browser extension wallet that allows you to leverage applications, but is also designed from the ground up for a multi-chain world. So unlike many wallets which have come before, which are designed really for a single chain context. This means, no more programming your wallet every time you arrive at an application, no more switching networks. Users of Talisman can also more easily manage their assets by opening our full screen portfolio view. In a world of many blockchains, your accounts and assets can easily become spread out all over the place, and Talisman is here to help you wrangle that. The idea of Talisman was actually originally discussed this time back in 2021 in early April. And so we've accomplished so much since then. In June of 2021, we built a web application, which is still around if you go to app.talisman.xyz, where Polkadot.js extension users were able to sort of see their balances, their NFTs, contribute to crowd loans. And this allowed us to get to know our community, what problems they were facing, and how we could help them explore the Paraverse more easily. In August, we raised money from some amazing founders in the Kusama space, from teams like Akala, Moonbeam, RMRK, Fala, HydroDX, Zeitgeist, Composable, and even more. In November, we launched our extension initially as a private alpha just to our community members. In December, over the Christmas break, we got our first security audit from Atreides Partners, the firm who actually audited the Polkadot key store, and we received a clean bill of health. And on March 3rd, we finally launched our public beta of our extension. And over the last month, we've grown to nearly 4,000 users. So I'm really proud of the team and the progress that we've made so far. And there's a lot of really exciting things coming down the pipe too. We're working really closely with the Ledger team to improve Polkadot ecosystem support, starting with a really awesome integration in our extension that'll be coming out this month. If you have dots or KSM on a Ledger and you've been waiting to unlock the power of .sama applications, you'll be really pleased by what and excited by what we've created. We're also going to be implementing EVM support. The Parachain ecosystem has voted, and in order to attract the next 10,000 developers into .sama, we're going to see wide-ranging EVM support across the Paraverse. And in order for Talisman to allow you to traverse the Paraverse easily and safely, we're going to need to support EVM transaction signing. So, I mean, that's it for me. If you're interested in learning more about Talisman, or downloading Talisman, go to talisman.xyz. That's talisman.xyz, where you can learn more. You can join our Discord community at discord.gg/talisman and sort of express your opinion, make your voice heard. We always love talking to our users and learning more. As mentioned, you can visit us at Amsterdot. Myself, my co-founder Jonathan, and Berto from our product team are going to be there in Amsterdot meeting and greeting people. And if you would like to learn more about Talisman at Polkadot Decoded, please consider voting for some of our talks where we're going to talk about how we view the future of the wallet space and how wallets can be multi-chain. Cheers.
Amazing. Thank you, Alex. I think unlock the power of DOT and KSM on applications should be your tagline, because that was excellent. Up next, we do have Zeke from Parity Technologies, who will discuss nomination pools.
Hi, thank you for thanks for having me, and thanks for the introduction, Emily. As Emily said, I work at Parity. I'm a Rust dev, and I work on the staking system. Before I dive into explaining the nomination pools, I wanted to point out there's a monthly update, and I think the Polkadot account should be pinning the tweet I have that links to the update. And the update for March takes a deep dive into the nomination pools, and I'm going to be roughly going over that. So if you have questions while I'm talking, I would recommend taking a look at that update. So to get started, I kind of wanted to back us up and explain why we need nomination pools in the first place. So basically, the NPOS system has some scaling bottlenecks. One of those is that the number of nominators that can participate in elections is bounded due to resource constraints in what we call the runtime, and also in what we call off-chain workers. So you can basically think of, we basically run out of memory space, and we can only fit X amount of nominators in. So the nomination pools addresses this bottleneck by, instead of adding nominators, we pool together users' funds, and they can act as one nominator. And essentially, in the approach we've designed here, we've eliminated any theoretical upper bound on the quantity of what we're calling delegators that the system can handle. So delegators are users who delegate their funds to a nomination pool. And high level, the earnings of the pool are split pro rata among the delegators' stake in the bonded pool. And I've seen this question a lot. The APY for delegators will be the same as if they were a nominator. There's no commission taken by the nomination pool. And also importantly, for the safety of the system and to align all economic incentives, slashes are applied proportionally to debt delegators who may have been actively bonded if a slashable offense was committed. So the next thing I want to do is dive a bit into what the life cycle looks like if someone was to become a delegator. So first there's pools, and I don't think I'm gonna dive into that right now, how the pools are created. But that is also detailed in the newsletter and also detailed in the PR the newsletter links to. But first thing you would do is you would specify a pool you want to join, and you'd specify how much funds you want to delegate to the pool. And this is essentially, you can think of this as like bonding. You're bonding your funds with that pool, and at a later point in time, you can also increase how many funds you've bonded. Then once you've joined a pool, you can then claim rewards anytime the pool's nomination account has claimed rewards. And we have a way of efficiently tracking any new rewards that have accumulated since last time the delegator claimed. And with that system, you can just, claim rewards as often as you want, or if you want to just only call this claim reward transaction, once a year, you can also do that as well. And then if a time comes where the delegator wants to leave the pool, whether they want to go join another pool or they just want to recover their funds, they can start a process that looks very similar to how a nominator a normal nominator would leave the system. They would unbond funds. And in this case, they would unbond all the delegators' funds, or all the funds they initially bonded. And at this point, once they call unbond, they're no longer eligible to claim rewards. And before those unbonded funds can be withdrawn, the delegator will have to wait 28 days on Polkadot to withdraw their funds, and they'll call another transaction withdraw unbonded other. And once the delegator withdraws, this ends their relationship with the pool. They technically don't exist in the nomination pool system, and they can rejoin a pool to become a nominator again, or use their funds for whatever they want. And in the future, we're hoping to implement voting with delegated funds. For now, we don't have that ability, but we will be able to do that in the future because once we have vote splitting, the nomination pool will be able to split votes. This is a bit technical, but if you have questions, you can ask on Stack Overflow or Element, and me or someone else on the staking team would be happy to answer. I think that is largely what I wanted to cover for right now. For people who are curious, I would really encourage them to go read the monthly staking update. Go ahead, and if you really want to take a technical deep dive, the staking pools are still up in PR form, and they're still awaiting audit. But there is very detailed high-level docs, and I think it's looking like it's kind of the API solidifying. So I encourage people to go take a look, ask questions on Stack Overflow. Feel free to ping me on Twitter or Riot. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Zeke. And I know you kind of touched on this, but when can the community expect to maybe use or see this vaguely?
Yeah, that's a great question. So hopefully if by middle of the month or end of the month, if audit is complete and this is merged in, we're first looking to roll this out on Kusama. And likely first roll it out on Kusama, see how things go, and then maybe either create some I guess hype around it, talk about it more once we're confident that things are looking okay. And then if all goes well, kind of the plan is roll it out on Polkadot, and give the world this nomination pool product, and hopefully a better user experience.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Zeke. And thank you again for joining and presenting nomination pools. I I can speak for myself by saying that I am personally excited for nomination pools to come to Kusama and then Polkadot as well. So thank you. And up next, we have Raul, Polkadot and Kusama Treasury member, council member, to talk about governance and updates and previous referenda and treasury proposals for this past month.
Hello, everyone. Hi, Pocahontas. It's nice to hear you again. So I'm here to talk to you about the latest developments on governance. But before we do that, I want to mention a new experiment that is being developed by Web3 Foundation research team, aiming to understand more about nominators' behavior on both Kusama and Polkadot. But for this, they need a nominator's help. And I invite you all to participate in this online experiment. It requires approximately 20 minutes. Instructions are provided in English, and there are just a few requirements. So you should have some experience in nominating on Polkadot or Kusama, on Polkadot JS apps. And you need to be part of the common channels, the governance channels, direction and water cooler channels since yesterday, either on Discord or an Element. There is a dot reward upon successful participation. So if you're interested, you can find the messages in the channels and send them a DM on Matrix, Element, or on Discord and provide a valid email address, and they will give you all of the information. So now let's go to the governance development. An announcement for both networks, both relay chains have successfully upgraded their runtime to version 9180. You can find the release notes on the upgrade in the GitHub link, which will be shared on Twitter as well from the Polkadot account. This time I have decided, because we have a lot of information, so I have decided to divide the different governance proposals in the categories of treasury, general, and discussions. Let's start with Polkadot first. On the treasury side, I've decided to highlight 3 treasury proposals that have been passed by governance. The first one is the open source typeface proposal. This proposal aims to develop a typeface, a font that is open source for the Polkadot community to use, an exclusive use for the Polkadot community. And it's part of the larger experiment on rebranding the Polkadot network that started with Bounty Zero, if you remember. This has been passed by governance and has been funded by the Treasury, and hopefully we'll be able to see and use the assets that the team is working on in order to distribute information, educational materials, and to use it in the websites of all of the community members. Why not? The second Treasury proposal is a maintenance proposal, which I'll talk about what they are in a bit. This is the proposal for operating costs for the Polkadot Ecology Research Institute. The institute is an organization that distributes educational information, tutorials, and news about the Polkadot and Substrate ecosystem to the Chinese-speaking community. They, in general, have been working with the Treasury for a very long time now. They've done a really good work in distributed information and educational materials, so we're very excited to be working with them still. And this is framed in what we call in the Treasury a maintenance proposal. Any project that develops something that is funded by the Treasury can come to the Treasury after and apply for maintenance proposal, which cover the cost of operations and maintenance of development of the code or any particular educational platforms, hackathons, conferences, in order to continue with the project. If you have questions about how maintenance proposals work, you can always DM me on Element or in Discord or ask in the direction channels, and I'm happy to help you. The third Treasury proposal I want to talk about, which I'm really excited about, is the ENCODE Club Tranche 4 and 5 proposal. The ENCODE team has been working with Polkadot, with the Polkadot community throughout 2021 and now 2022. They have a 3-level project that was funded entirely by the Treasury. And this project includes an educational program, a hackathon, and an incubator. This particular proposal for Tranche 4 and 5 aim to reward those teams that have passed to the incubator level of the project. And I believe this is their last milestone for this proposal that has been very, very successful in the Polkadot community. So we're looking forward to work with ENCODE Club again. Now let's go to the general governance proposals on Polkadot particularly. As we discussed in the last community call, and Sig has mentioned before in his talk, there was a proposal that was published and requested by the staking team requesting to lower the nomination intention limits due to the issues that Sig has mentioned before. This has already passed and has been enacted by the governance system on Polkadot. This lowers the nomination intentions to 10 dots, but from 160 dots. But particularly interesting to note is that if you aim to nominate with more than 10 dots, you're not guaranteed to be part of the top 22,500 nominators and consequently receiving rewards, right? So as we discussed in the previous community call and Sig has mentioned before, you need to be elected as a nominator, and this is determined dynamically right now, so based on the market demand of the network. We know the team is working really hard on more solutions like the nominations pool, so we're really excited about that. So I also encourage you all to go check the monthly staking report that we've shared here on the Twitter space. It's really interesting and it gives a lot of really good updates on the staking side of things. For the discussion section on Polkadot, I want to bring your attention on the standard guidelines to judge liquidity treasury proposals on the governance side. We know that many parachains have been wondering and asking about the possibility of treasury providing liquidity on protocols built on the parachains and on parachains themselves. Now, these guidelines were developed in combination with different teams in the ecosystem and is now published for discussion. The guidelines stipulate a certain requirements or conditions for proposals to be submitted to the Polkadot and Kusama treasury and for the community to judge and review these proposals in order to see if they follow the requirements the community wants. There have been several changes based on community feedback, so I encourage you all to read the guidelines and to read the comments in the link that will be shared after, and to leave your comments and questions if you have any. Now we go to the Canary network, the experimental network Kusama. For the treasury side of things, we have also 3 particularly interesting treasury proposals. Many of you know Jay. He's been working on the video production of the Kusama news, culture, tech, and education for quite some time now. And this week, he has submitted his second proposal to cover the Q2 video production for news, culture, tech, and education in the Kusama community. We're very excited about this particular production, and I know the community is as well. This is up for vote right now. You can find it in the Motions tab for the console on Kusama Network. The second one I want to talk to you about is the governance rewards proposal. This is an exciting experiment by Gabriel using RMRK, which I think is fantastic, and it allows us to experiment much more on Kusama. So shout out to the RMRK team as well. This proposal aims to incentivize stakeholders to vote on referenda with non-economic incentives, basically the issuance and distribution of limited edition NFTs on RMRK using RMRK 2 tech stack, which is really exciting. This proposal was already passed by the council, so if you vote on referenda today, you will be able to receive to your account limited edition NFTs that are funded by the Treasury. The third one is the Encounter parachain infrastructure maintenance. As you might know, Encounter is a common good chain on Kusama, which means it should be understood as an extension of the relay chain in itself. And they are allowed as common good chain to request funds to cover infrastructure maintenance and code maintenance on their side of things. This was already passed by council. And linked also to Encounter Common Good Chain, the runtime upgrade for this particular chain is up for discussion as well and should be up for vote soon enough. This runtime is very exciting because it upgrades the chain to version 6 and will bring the full Encounter protocol and the first community for the Encounter chain to start in Zurich, so super exciting. Take into account that the governance model that the team has set up on this upgrade aims to control the community's governance and the ceremonies themselves, not the protocol adjustments. We know that being a common good chain, any protocol adjustments on the common good chain needs to be controlled and handled by the relay chain governance. So this is respected in that way, but we're still very excited about this new upgrade. And to end with Kusama, to end with the Canary Network, up for discussion, I want to bring to your attention the post on parachain block time degradation. As we know, motion 384 and 438 on Kusama schedule auctions from LP16 to LP26. So this is up until January 2023. Now, in the last weeks, several teams have identified and reproduced issues with networking, causing parachain block time degradation to go lower. This means that basically it takes a bit longer for parachains to produce and validate blocks and to authenticate them in the relay chain. The teams believe that there are issues in collators, either discovering or connecting to validators, and on validators having issues to propagate this information. So the team is already working on optimizations, but there is a discussion thread there that you can review and leave your feedback, which two possible solutions can happen. If the team is able to complete the optimizations in time, then, and we see good results, then everything will be solved. If the team does not complete the optimizations in time, as we know, optimizations can take quite a while, then one alternative is to reschedule the auction on Kusama to allow a smoother roadmap from current parachains. You will be able to read everything about it in the link that will be shared after. And that's all from my side. I hope you've enjoyed this section. And if you have any questions or comments on governance, you know, you can always find us in the direction channels. And I hope to see you all on Amsterdam.
Wonderful. Thanks, Raul. Man, oh man, do we have a bunch of governance proposals and treasury proposals every month, which is it's a good problem to have, but I don't know about you all. I don't know how all of that happens within a month. That's crazy. Up next, and before we take it over to Bruno, we are penning a tweet about Talisman Wallet so that anyone that's heard previously and wanted to know where to go to check out things about Talisman Wallet, the tweet is being pinned right now. Now we will hand it over to Bruno, who is the founder of RMRK app, to talk about NFTs on Polkadot and Kusama.
Yeah, hi. Thank you for the invite. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Well, pleasure to be here. I guess I'll do a brief introduction into what RMRK is, and yeah, if anybody's going to have any questions after that, we can dive into those. I would be happy to explain whatever is unclear. So RMRK is a system of NFT 2.0 Legos that allow creators to build NFT systems of any arbitrary complexity by putting those Legos together. And these Legos are kind of independent, atomic, like they can stand on their own, they can be combined in any combination that you wish, and you have to write little to no code around them. And also any UI, any application, any wallet that supports these standards will also support any permutation that you can come up with in terms of complexity. Like however you put these Legos together, that is the complexity that you will have, and that is what will automatically be supported by any UI that implements these standards. One really interesting example in particular is what Raul mentioned, is the governance rewards approach, where so RMRK by itself has these 5 Legos, 2 of which are crucial to understand the exact unique selling point. That is, NFTs can own other NFTs and equip them to change their look. And NFTs can be multi-resource, which means that a single NFT can be multiple things at the same time. That means that
an ebook can be an audio file and a PDF file at the same time, and it will load the content depending on the context it's loaded in. So if you load it in a Kindle device, you'll see the PDF. If you load it in Audible, it'll just play. But this applies to a lot of other things as well, like the metaverse problem of having, I don't know, an avatar jacket in one cartoonish metaverse and an avatar jacket in a realistic metaverse. Traditionally, you would be airdropped two different NFTs based on an NFT you already have. This is how it works in Ethereum and so on. Over here, you have one NFT that has three different resources, and these resources are these different outputs. So you would have one jacket NFT, but that jacket NFT has one image that is representative of it on the various marketplaces and whatnot. And another resource is the version of the jacket designed for the cartoonish metaverse. And then another resource is a realistic jacket designed for the realistic metaverse. And it's all in one NFT. And this NFT can evolve and add other resources as new, completely unrelated projects come up. And so your NFTs don't actually, sit in your digital attic gathering dust. They actually continue to have use and to get use over time as they grow. And so as the community wakes up to this functionality and starts to really understand it, we've had the biggest problem we've had was actually just communicating this very clearly to what is possible now. And now that people have started discovering it, we're nearing like 100 projects in development to be deployed, and a few of them already deployed and live and really impressive, like that governance reward system where everybody who participated in Polkadot's governance in any way gets basically a trophy shelf NFT. And this trophy shelf NFT is uniquely yours, and it's empty. It's just a bunch of empty shelves. But then every time you vote on some referendum, depending on how you voted, you will get a certain NFT, like either a rubber duck or a picture of a rubber duck. And then this NFT can be sent into that shelf and equipped on top of this shelf. So these are fully standalone NFTs that are compatible with the shelf. And so what you end up with is people are visually building their on-chain participation reputation, which is not only cool in terms of getting a unique output for your participation in an on-chain in a chain's evolution, but also because Remark is .sama native and because we are implicitly connected to all of these parachains, you can actually leverage this on other protocols. Like you could, once you build your reputation enough, a protocol like Karura could actually leverage this, read what kind of reputation you have, how quote unquote valuable your shelf is based on your previous performance. And based on that, they could give you an under collateralized loan versus an over collateralized one in their application. So the applications, especially in terms of cross-chain integration, are endless, and we're extremely happy to see people experimenting with this in a lot of different crazy ways.
Awesome, Bruno. That's really cool to hear. Currently, and I think you touched on this, but currently Remark is available on Kusama. What are your potential plans for Polkadot?
Yeah, so we are currently on Kusama just because when I started it, there were no parachains to deploy on, and so we had to hack it onto Kusama using the Remark approach, which is kind of the colored coins approach from Bitcoin. This is a very flawed approach that we are really kind of eager to get away from. And so right now we are rewriting the logic of Remark in as Rust palettes, because almost all of the parachains that are running on Kusama, some of them that are running on Polkadot, have already pre-committed to adding our palettes to their runtime, which means that the non-fungibles that are based on Remark will be seamlessly teleportable across this ecosystem. But we're also building the EVM version funded by a Moonbeam grant, which is going to go on Moonriver and Moonbeam so that it becomes available across the entire ecosystem. What we're not going to be doing is we're not going to be evolving the initial version any further. So the version as is now, native to Kusama, is going to stay like this. So it's a feature freeze. And we're definitely not going to be porting it to Polkadot because there are other better solutions available now. And this is what we're pursuing. It's moving along nicely. We have like an MVP, I would say, of both the palettes and the contracts. Some test UIs pending, but we're basically testing them, and we should see them in some sort of production very soon.
That's wonderful. So we do have some time left here if anyone has questions. If you have questions, unfortunately, some of the people that joined already had to leave due to other commitments. However, any questions for Bruno about RMRK app or Raul on governance, treasury referenda, or even Urban on Dev Camp, you can just raise your, well, actually, you can't raise your hand, but you can request to speak, and that is you raising your hand.
I have a question for Urban on the
Oh,
Dev Camp.
great.
How is it different from the Substrate Developer Academy?
Well, hello, Bruno. It's been a while, huh? Yeah, I don't exactly know the state of the Substrate Developer Runtime Academy right now. I know that they pushed the next batch to TBD, as far as I know, but the goal and the objective of it should be quite similar, right? So we're trying to get people to at least get a foothold with substrate engineering, and I think both of these accomplish it in a, let's say, similar fashion.
Okay, so the expected outcome is like approximately the same level of expertise from both programs?
Yeah, plus minus. I think about the same, right? Because with the Substrate Developer Academy, we're also not a let's say professional once you completed it, but generally you were able to build frame palettes, build custom palettes, and then deploy that into a chain.
Yep, thank you.
Cool.
Awesome. I also see we have composable finance here and Picasso, a couple of one of the same parachain, but on Polkadot and Kusama. If you guys would like to say anything, you can request as well. I see we have some requests here. Let's go with M13 was the first. M13, do you have a question? All right, I guess we'll go to, I'm so sorry, I cannot pronounce this name, but you just requested to ask a question.
Yes, hello.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, okay. My question is to Urban concerning the developer bootcamp for Polkadot. So I was asking, why do you keep the limit of 20 applicants only?
Yeah, that's a great question. So this is the first batch of the bootcamp. So we are intentionally trying to keep it small because we want to improve the experience going further. We want to learn from it as well, right? We don't have all the answers. So the goal is to keep the first and probably the second batch at 20. But then as we move forward, as we get more experienced, we do plan on expanding this, not just in terms of, how many people are per batch, but actually to have more batches running. So I think there's a huge upside of having keeping batches small because it's more intimate. You get to really know your colleagues, your teammates, and so on. But obviously, we need to think about how we can scale this as well. So I think there's a sweet spot, and you should be seeing a little bit more in a couple of months.
Okay, thank you. And also, my second question concerning the batches. So the first batch will start on 5th May, and I don't know the duration of the first batch, but what's the space between batches? Like after one batch, how many days or week are we gonna stay until the next batch comes forward?
Yeah, I anticipate the second batch to be launched somewhere in August, probably. So this is going to finish. So the closing ceremony is going to be on the 10th of June. Then probably June, July is going to be off, and then August we do another batch.
Thank you.
All right, Ken, you and Pradyum also
Hi.
requested. Hi,
Can you
Hello.
hear
Ken.
me?
My,
Oh, sorry.
yeah. Hello. Hello. Yeah. My question is all mostly answered by the Urban because I have a similar question related to batches, so it's now clear.
Sure. Let me try to explain this again. So currently we are doing the first batch that is going to go live. So the applications are live already, and the first batch is going to start on 5th of May and run for, I think it's about 4 to 5 weeks, the whole thing. After this concludes, we're going to have a short summer break, and then probably in August we're going to do the second batch. I am not clear on how we're going to do this after the second batch, but you should see more from it because generally the response has been overwhelmingly good, to be honest. So we're probably going to be doubling down on it.
Hello, it's me again. So this question goes to Bruno concerning Remark. So basically I've read about Remark, but one thing like I didn't understand is how is it really implemented on the chain level, because you said you have uh, done this on the chain of Kusama, and like it's running on the runtime of Kusama, right? So I need you to explain to me, or to the audience, like, okay, like is it you implemented the pallets for the Kusama runtime and not in the statement, I think. And like you've said, you're going to shift and build it as a as a standalone chain, or as in how?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for the question. So this is uh, if you're familiar with the colored coins approach from Bitcoin, that's the approach we're using. If not, you can think of it as if a single, so if the blockchain is like a big ship, and every block is a shipping container that contains transactions. What we are doing is we are not putting anything into the blocks. We're not putting anything into the shipping containers. Instead, we are drawing graffiti on the side of those containers. And we came up with a special language called the remark specification, which is able to interpret this graffiti as the ship docks and unloads the containers one by one. We observe these graffiti and make little notes in our notebook that tell us, okay, we have a green frog graffiti, we have a yellow, I don't know, banana graffiti, and so on. So what we're doing is we're piggybacking on the blocks with custom data that we then interpret off-chain. So this data is on-chain, and if you run our consolidator, this is the tool that just goes through all the blocks and squishes them into a final state, and tells you the final state of all the NFTs on the Remark protocol. If you do this yourself, you will also reach the same result, the same endpoint. So this is why the specification is actually important, because it knows how to interpret this graffiti. You can put any graffiti onto the shipping containers, but if they don't match the specification, they will just be ignored. And so this is how it works. So there's no consensus layer operation here. The consensus is just including the extrinsics, including the graffiti in the blockchain, but then we post-process it later on and present it that way. This is how it works on Kusama. Now, our plan with the Remark palettes that we have built is not to run our own chain. We do not want to, add another chain into the mix. We do not think it's necessary. We feel like augmenting the NFT possibilities of other chains and just spreading, the standard around is the best way for .sama to finally not play catch up with Ethereum anymore, but instead to, you know, leapfrog it by a few generations, which is what this standard does essentially. And so by adding remark palettes to all of these chains that are interested in adding palettes, we don't need a canonical home, and we don't need the overhead of, you know, maintaining our own chain or altering the tokenomics to introduce inflation to fund the collators and all the other stuff that usually, you know, that gives people headaches, as you know, as we know from other founders. Instead, we're focusing on the logic, and we will do our best to get integrated with as many chains as possible, so that they can all have whatever Legos, whichever of these NFT 2.0 Legos they choose to have, they can have on their chains, and so that this NFT infrastructure is really cross-chain compatible. So this is how we intend to go cross-chain.
Thank you, Bruno. Thank you.
Wonderful. I see OX Brainjar, you have joined us and requested to ask a question.
Yeah, hello, sirs. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great. Yeah, no, I mean, just like wanted to, you know, praise the effort that you guys have put into Kusama. Just like, you know, really just excited to see what's happening over the next few months, specifically on Kusama. And I think what's the evolution that has occurred, you know, just like culturally, but also like economically, regarding Kusama has been, I think, really exciting, and I think really sets our ecosystem apart from other ecosystems, because we really have a place to like fundamentally innovate. And so, yeah, I guess like generally my question is, how do you guys envision sort of like these various initiatives that have been pushed in recent weeks regarding kind of like, you know, developer relations oriented things, liquidity proposals, these types of initiatives? Do you see these things being sort of Kusama directed in sort of any way? And do you guys feel like there will be a point with which sort of like there's even like kind of a delineation between you know, the two communities? I don't know if it's something you guys have thought about, but it's something I'm definitely thinking about quite a bit, because I do feel like there's a sort of separation across kind of Kusama users versus Polkadot users. But yeah, anyway, just like wanted to throw that out there and see if anyone else had any other thoughts.
Bruno, Raul, I'm tossing that to you guys as, you know, Bruno, I've heard you talk about, you know, the Kusama community, especially when it comes to RMRK and the differences. I'm sure that while Polkadot community has changed, there is definitely a difference in the community. And Raul as well, that's seen every treasury proposal. You can really see where the networks start to change like firsthand. So if any one of you want to answer that.
Sure. Like, so regarding the community, I personally see the community, I like the name .sama, right? I see the community as one, with two relay chains and, so to say, two sub-communities. And we know that eventually the two relay chains will be bridged. So it will be interesting and exciting to see what happens then. The Kusama community is definitely much more different than the Polkadot community. I feel like the Kusama community is not really scared to take any risks, and it's much more experimental, which makes sense since the spirit of Kusama is to be the canary network for Polkadot in preparation. In general, what I've seen with governance proposals and treasury proposals is that anything that needs to be deployed on Polkadot will always be first deployed on Kusama. So in general, we have that pattern. However, there are specific things on Kusama that don't happen on Polkadot. RMRK is a really, really great example of that. And I think it's really good that the community differentiates. Also, the Kusama community, when it comes to discussion, they're they're not scared to make their voices loud, and that's really, really good. And they participate a lot. I feel like the characters of the networks are represented as well in the community. We have a Canary network that is very much experimental and risk. Not scared to take risk, and that we have the Polkadot community, in which we know when code only is deployed when it's audited and after several discussion sessions and vote by the community. But in general, it seems to be a more stable, conservative chain, right? And of course, it's also slower than Kusama. Kusama goes 4 times faster in when it comes to vote on governance and treasury proposals and whatnot. So definitely a difference there. However, I see it as part of the same ecosystem, and I think this will be reflected after community discusses and votes on a bridge on Kusama and Polkadot.
Yeah, no, I think that definitely answers my question for sure. And I think it's just going to be very exciting to see, I think, over time. Like, I do feel like there might be this like community that forms around Kusama that's like similar communities that are also like big proponents of layer twos on ETH. And so, yeah, I think it's just going to be exciting. And yeah, definitely on a personal note, we're also like super excited to, start really interacting with this community in person. And so, yeah, just like a shameless plug for our Polkadot Decoded talks. Please vote for us if you have some spare votes. Thank you, guys.
Wonderful. Yes. Thank you, Brainjar, for joining. And again, like as Brainjar said, you have until April 14th to vote on your favorite talks. Brainjar has some. I know RMRK, Bruno, you do as well. Talisman Wallet, who joined as well. So really do go and vote and curate the program you want. We are now at the hour, but before we go, I did also want to make sure that you guys were all aware of Amsterdot. Amsterdot is a 4-day conference taking place April 20th to 23rd in Amsterdam. It does coincide with ETH Amsterdam, which is just an excellent opportunity to integrate with the wider crypto community and the builders and researchers who are already going to be there at that time. This event was funded by the Treasury and is being organized with the support of some of the leading projects in the Polkadot and Kusama ecosystems. So as well as people joining and participating, the organizers of this conference include Hydra DX, Polkadot Parity, Akala, Centrifuge, Astar, Moonbeam, Subsquid, and Talisman Wallet, who you heard from at the beginning of this call. So it is an inclusive space allowing for everyone to meet, to greet, to talk, and exchange thoughts, and even kick off the next interesting collaboration. This event will have 2 adjacent venues. So there will be the conference, and running parallel to that in a different venue will be the hackathon. So it is also a hackathon. If you want to know more about it, they do have a website, but just for usability, the Amster._conf is their Twitter handle. And again, that's Amster._conf. And you'll also see the Polkadot account sharing stuff leading up until the event. So if you can make it over to Amsterdam, you definitely should for that. The conference itself is only like $50 so that you get swag. It's a very cheap and thing. And so just hopefully we'll see a lot of you guys in Amsterdam. And thank you to everyone that tuned in to hear the latest updates. We'll be back again in May for even more updates. And also thank you to our speakers, Urban from Web3 Foundation, Alex, the founder of Talisman, Zeke, who joined from Parity to discuss nomination pools, Raul, council member who joined to discuss governance, and Bruno,